If you're an applicant whose first language isn't English and you don't feel confident taking your exams in English, we do allow you to use a translator. The translator who you provide simply reads your exam questions. Question number 15 on the application asks if you need a translator to complete the examination. The translator must be approved by CSLB in advance. You cannot just show up on the day of your examination to the test center with someone to translate the exam for you. When you get an exam date, make sure you do not miss it. If you fail to appear for your exam, you will have to pay a non-refundable $60 rescheduling fee. The fee may be waived once with documented evidence of a medical emergency or other circumstance beyond your control. Also, we have study guides available for each of our exams. Included in each study guide, you will find a list of sections and topics covered by the exam. They also include sample questions, how each section of the exam is weighted, and recommended resources that you can use to prepare for the examination now. These study guides are available online on our website. There's a bonus link here so that you can use right here at the bottom of the screen.
Here is a quick look at two of those study exams. The first is the Law and Business exam, which all qualifiers must take, no matter which license classification, including the D-Series limited classes. You can see the guide contains a breakdown of examination topics, some test strategies, sample questions, and resources that were used to help create that exam. You will see the same format on the B General Building Study Guide. We would recommend that you really pay attention to the exam content here, especially how we have broken down what percentage of question there will be on each of the 5 topics on the exam. You will also note on the lower right of both of these slides, you will see bonus links to the actual study guide, as well as a link to the complete list of study guides.
Again, our test centers are open. We do have COVID-19 procedures in place for applicants on test date. Here they are. Plan to arrive at least 15 minutes early for your exam. Give yourself extra time to get yourself checked in. You must wear a face mask or other face covering. If you appear ill, you will have to reschedule your exam for at least 5 days later at no additional charge. And you will not be admitted into the test center more than 15 minutes prior to your exam time. We've also produced a short video, What to Expect on Test Date, that you can watch on our YouTube channel. The link is here at the bottom of the screen.
You will take your exam on a touchscreen computer. Before starting, you will see an on-screen tutorial that will take you through the process. The exam itself consists of multiple choice questions. You will also see a space on each question where you can, if you want, submit a comment about that question. You will get 3.5 hours to complete each exam. Don't arrive late, or that may reduce the amount of time you get to complete your exam. You will get your results at the end of the exam. If you don't pass the exam, you will not be allowed to review the questions you missed, but you will get a statement showing how you did on each section of the exam. You can reschedule the exam as many times as you need to within the 18 months period, as long as you pay the non-refundable $60 rescheduling fee each time.
After you pass the exam, what happens next? First, you'll need to pay $200 for your initial licensing fee, which will be good for 2 years. You'll also need to complete an online asbestos open book exam. Plus, you'll need to file your required $15,000 contractor surety bond, and possibly some other bonds depending on what type of big business entity you have selected. And you'll need to get your required insurance policy. If you have employees, you'll need to get workers' compensation insurance. If you're going to be an LLC, you'll also need liability insurance. See our website for more information on that. Please note that your insurance company or broker can submit your insurance information directly to CSLB on our website. If you don't have employees, you must file a workers' compensation exemption form with CSLB. You can do that online as well.
In about 5 to 10 business days, CSLB will send you a wall certificate and plastic pocket license card. Display the wall certificate in your main office or chief place of business. Carry your pocket card with you, especially in situations where you are going to solicit business, talk to potential customers, or sign contracts. We encourage consumers to ask you to see your pocket license. If you are going to have salesperson working for you, be sure to get them registered as a home improvement salesperson with CSLB. Check our website for more on how to do that. Your license will be good for 2 years. It will expire on the last day of the month when it was issued. For example, a license issued today, April 2nd, 2021, will expire on April 30th, 2023. Be sure to put that expiration date on your calendar, in your phone, anywhere you need so you won't forget it. CSLB will send you a renewal notice in the mail approximately 60 days before it expires, but ultimately it is your responsibility to renew your license on time.
Here are a couple of other important deadlines to keep in mind. First, notify CSLB within 30 days if you move or change your business address. Your renewal address will be sent to the address of record that we have on file. If you're not there anymore, you're probably not going to receive it. Plus, the Postal Service will not forward state government mail. Finally, notify CSLB within 30 days of all changes to personnel on your record, especially when it involves a qualifier of the license.
Once you get your license and get to work, you might want to hire someone as a salesperson to solicit, sell, negotiate home improvement contracts on your behalf outside of your place of business. These people are called Home Improvement Salesperson, or HIS. Without a home improvement salesperson, the official personnel of record on a license are the only ones that can solicit, sell, negotiate, or execute a contract. That includes individual contractors, licensed qualifiers, partners, corporation officers, and LLC responsible managing officers, members, managers, or employees. A home improvement salesperson can work for more than one contractor. The licensee must notify CSLB in writing when they either associate or disassociate a home improvement salesperson with their license.
There are a couple of exceptions to note. First are those who only schedule appointments for the contractor or the registered HIS. Bona fide service and repair people, the folks who you call out for repairs, including things like air conditioning, heating, and plumbing. But those service and repair people are limited to the work that was initially requested by the buyer or the homeowner. For example, if your AC goes out and you call an HVAC company to come out, the service person does not have to be a registered salesperson. But if they go beyond the repair itself and they try to sell you a whole new HVAC system, then they would have to be a registered HIS. Also, don't employ an unregistered salesperson. That subjects you to the administrative discipline, and the salesperson might get a citation or possibly even a criminal misdemeanor. We've got bonus links at the bottom of this page for more information if you want to look at the actual code sections of law. Okay, that is our presentation. Now it is time to answer your questions. So we'll go ahead and take questions now. Let's see. Our first question is, what is the difference between a handyman license and a contractor license? So currently, CSLB doesn't offer a handyman license. A handyman license usually is a business license that's required by the county or the city where you're working. A contractor's license, as we discussed, can be given in different categories depending on what trade you will be performing. Does construction engineering fall under construction management? Bo, do you want to take that one?
Construction management, we really talk about the folks, for example, they're already contractors, so they're managing the overall construction business. But the engineering, construction engineering is the folks with the special engineering skills to work on the construction project. So an engineer could also manage the construction, but they're two different things.
Okay. The next one, he has a bachelor's of engineering and a master of technology degree from accredited university in India. Would I qualify for the waiver for my general building license? No, the waiver is a very specific situation. So we don't provide the waiver based on experience or education. It has to be a very specific situation. So no, you wouldn't qualify for the waiver. You would have to file the application, the original application for license. Links are not clickable, and we aren't able to copy them. Will you be sending out a presentation? So if you want the clickable version, what you have to do, you want to go to our website, www.cslb.ca.gov, and there's a banner at the top of the page. So then that's where you can download the presentation, and the links will be clickable there. So go ahead and go to our website, look at the top of the banner, and then download the presentation so that you can click on the links. Okay. What kind of application or documents needed to fill for my corporation to hire an RMO? So, Fode, what kind of application or documents do they need if they're going to have a corporation and they want to have an RMO?
See, if they're already licensed and they already have an RMO, then application to replace the qualifier. But if they do not have a license yet, then application for original contractor license, depends on if this new RMO has already passed the exam or not. If it has to pass the exam, you need to send the one that says waiver only with 7065. So application for original contractor's license, and if they are waiver, make sure you send the one which says waiver only.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. On section 3, number 7 of the application, I will be selecting RMO as my company is a corporation. Do I have to write something on the line provided or just check the box of RMO? So in section number 3 is where you let us know the different positions that everybody on the license will be held. And just as a reminder, if you are a corporation or an LLC, everybody who you have registered with the Secretary of State has to be listed on your application. So you can go ahead and let us know. You will let us know who your RMO is. You will indicate that in that section there. But everybody you have listed, your treasurer, your secretary, all of those have to be listed in section number 4, and they have to sign the application in section number 4. Okay. I have already been fingerprinted by CSLB and have a home improvement salesperson card. Do I have to get fingerprinted again? Vote.
No, if you already have.
Sorry.
Yeah, if you already have the fingerprints on file, on the records, no, you don't need to do more fingerprints.
All right. I have about 5 years of experience of building constructions in India. Would this experience of mine in India be counted toward my experience requirement for the general building license? So we are able to give credit for out of state experience and also for out of the country experience. The burden of proof though is on you to be able to document that experience. So you would have somebody, if somebody can fill out your work experience certification form to include that experience, and they are able to provide us contact information where we're able to reach them and verify the information, you would be able to use that experience. Can you have 2 different licenses under one corporation? For example, a B contractor and a C27 landscape. 2 different people from the same company. Fode, can you have 2 different licenses?
Yes, one corporation can have 2 different licenses as long as one of them has used a DBA, doing business as. So they cannot be exactly the same name. You can use the corporation, but for the second one, you have to use a DBA.
I have 4 years of journeyman experience, but was paid cash. How can I prove my experience? Okay, so we did talk about how you can prove your experience when you are self-employed or if you have been cash paid. So check stubs are not the only thing that we ask for, because we understand that a lot of the experience is received as you are being paid cash. So you'll want to refer back to that section of the workshop where we talked about acceptable documentation that we will accept in the event that you are asked for supplemental documentation to prove your work experience. The important thing to remember with that is that you don't want to send that information in with your application. That's only if your application is selected for that additional information. The CSLB tech, they would get a hold of you, they'll contact you and let you know, hey, we need additional information from you. At that time, that's when you would send that in. Different things. If you have invoices that you've saved over the years, if you have billings, anything that can prove your work experience. So refer back to that document there. It is available to print on our website as well. You'll want to go ahead and gather that information now, but you won't have to send it in until we ask for it. Okay. Can I send a copy of my BS degree? So remember, we're not gonna be able to look at any degrees ahead of time. You're gonna want to send in your sealed transcripts with your application. We don't have the staff to be able to look at it now and let you know how much work experience you'd be able to get. So you're gonna want to get the sealed transcripts, leave them sealed, send them in with your application, and then somebody will get a hold of you and let you know how much experience. On section 4 of the application, for the rest of the personnel, do I write NA or just leave blank? You can do either. You can write NA if there's nobody else there, it's just you. That's fine. Can certifiers use digital signatures like DocuSign, or do they need to fill out the paper? Fode, can certifiers use digital signatures like DocuSign?
Yes, we accept the DocuSign. If we find it questionable, we will contact that person just to verify it, but we do accept it.
My colleges in India have issued degrees to me that I have an original. Would these original degree certificates suffice to be submitted as separate transcripts and not given by university colleges in India? So do you see that question?
No, unfortunately, we need the transcripts, and transcripts had to be evaluated with the accredited institute in the United States. So they can actually tell us what is the equivalent of that degree in United States by looking actually at your curriculum and the courses that you've taken. So we would need that.
On section 4, for the title or position checkbox for my personnel, he is listed on the corporation as Chief Financial Officer. Do I check the box for officer or leave as is? Check the box and write Chief Financial Officer. They can check the box for officer, correct, folks?
Yeah, check the officer and write down Chief Financial Officer. That the last part is the correct.
Can the exam be taken before submitting the work experience waiver document? So we don't have a work experience waiver document. You have to prove work experience. There is no waiver documentation for the work experience. So I'm not sure what that question is regarding. And the exam, you submit your application along with your work experience forms, and then we will set you up for a test date. What do you need for a C61 D63 construction cleanup license? So the same requirements would apply. You still have to fill out your application. You still have to have somebody certify your work experience on the certification forms. The only difference with the C61 license is that on the day of your examination, you would only take one examination, the business and law examination. You wouldn't have to take a second trade examination, but that is the only difference. All the other requirements still apply. Do we need to submit the fingerprint with the application or after the exam? Fode, when do they submit their fingerprints?
Once we have received your application, reviewed it, accepted it, and posted, and then we'll send it to exam. But once we post it, we will issue a live scan packet and we'll send it to you. So you can do it in parallel while you're taking your exam, during that time.
Right, so you don't want to do it before because you have to wait for us to send you the packet. So you don't want to send it in with your application. You have to wait, submit your application, we'll send you a packet, and then go get it done.
Right.
Do I need a signature to show proof of work experience? Yes, as we discussed, somebody needs to certify your work experience. We call that person the certifier. You can select who your certifier is. Your certifier is somebody who has knowledge that you have 4 years of experience within the last 10 years. So if one person can certify 4 years, great, have that one person fill out the form. But sometimes you'll need more than one certifier. Maybe one person can certify 2 years, and then you have another person who can certify another year and another year. So make as many copies as you need for each certifier and have them fill out the form. But yes, what we're looking for is 48 months in the last 10 years. Okay. If you're submitting work experience as an owner-builder for Class B contractor, does the permit period translate to the length of work time experience factored? Thank you so much. So, vote, when you're looking at the owner-builder form, does the permit period equal exactly the amount of experience credit they're going to receive for that project?
No. Actually, the deputy will look at the owner-builder project, and there is a standard within the industry that they follow. So maybe it take you 2 years to complete it, but they go based on industry standards. So the length of it takes how long to get your permit is not relevant.
Correct. Okay. The company I employed with is expanding our home major appliance division in California. We provide in-home repair for washers and dryers, dishwashers, while attempting to place an order with local refrigeration distributor. We were informed that a C38 license was required for the purchase of refrigerant and refrigerant-related equipment. This license appears to be directed towards commercial applications. I'm not sure what the question is there. Is this the correct license? Oh, okay, it continues. Is this the correct license? Or is there something more specific to our industry for in-home consumer repair? Bo, do you want to take that one?
Is the correct license? Is there something more specific? Well, C38 is for refrigeration, so and it's not necessarily commercial. I mean, it could be residential, but we don't. Specific to our industry. So if you do, like C20, that's for, no. And then refrigerators, no, this one, can't really answer now, but that one is not really under our jurisdictions.
So we also have a booklet of description of classifications that you can access on our website. And what it does there is tells you what you can do with what type of work you can do with every license classification that we offer. It's called Description of Classifications. It's available on our website now. So you'll want to look at the C38 and see exactly what it covers. And if you see that it does entail what you cover, then that's when you want to go for. However, let's say you read that description and you're still not sure if it covers your classification. You do have the option of sending an email. We have a classification deputy, and what they do is they tell you exactly which license you would need. So you can email them. Their email address is classifications with an S at the end, classifications at CSLB .ca.gov. And what they do is you're going to give them a little bit of information. You're going to tell them exactly what you put in your question here, what type of work you're going to be doing, what is going to be your scope of your contract. And then they will respond to you. They'll send you an email letting you know what the appropriate classification is. So you have that option. We do ask that you give them about 2 to 3 weeks to respond. They will respond. Don't keep sending them emails. They'll get back to you and let you know. Okay, thank you. Next question. How many certifiers are needed? Fode, how many certifiers do they need?
Well, you have to certify 48 months or 4 years of experience. So it depends on, if one certifier can verify your experience for the duration, that's all you need. But if your experience was in 2-3 different places and you have different people who observe you, then each one of them needs to complete the certification of work experience.
If we have a lot of out-of-state work experience, but only about 1 year of California work experience, should I still add my educational bachelor degree experience as well? So we do look at out-of-state work experience, just like your California work experience, as long as you have somebody who can certify it, that would be considered as work experience. So you can include the out-of-state work experience, you can include the California work experience, and you can also include your bachelor's degree. Hopefully in the combination of all of that experience, you'll have enough for the 48 required months. How many years of experience do you need for a C61? So all of our requirements are the same. Everybody needs 4 years of experience within the last 10 years in the trade that you are applying for. I'm just seeing some repeated questions. Let me see. Does over 15 years of experience count to qualify for an exam waiver? No, again, as we mentioned, the exam waiver is not given based on the years of experience you have or how much education you have. It's got to be very specific situation. It's almost if you've already been on a license and the license is still active, then you might qualify for a waiver. But it's very specific situation. It's not based on work experience. I am an active duty service member who is preparing to retire from the military, and my wife and I are looking to open our own business working small home improvement projects. Would it be more beneficial to apply for a general contractor license and HIS, or would individual license such as C7, C27, C54 be more appropriate route based on our anticipated scopes of work? Oh, do you want to answer that one?
Well, if the project that you will take in, it has more than one trades, then you would need a B, the general contractor building. But overall, you have to see where your experience is. Can you provide the 4 years of experience for B general contractor? Or maybe your experience was more with C54. So you have to look at your experience and then also make sure you fall within the classification when you do work. So if you're going to take projects that needs more than one trade, you would need your B.
Can a bachelor's degree from before 2011 be used? Yes. So we mentioned that the 10 years of the 10-year limitation is on work experience, not on education. So even if you got your education a long time ago, that's fine. You can still submit your transcripts to be considered. Would a foreign experience counted? Would foreign experience be counted? Yes, we mentioned that as well, that if you are able to provide evidence that you have experience, even if it was out of the state, out of the country, it would be considered, but you have to have somebody who is able to certify that experience. They would need to fill out the form and they would need to be able to provide their contact information to us so that we could verify the information. I have worked part-time and full-time for the past 4 years. Do I meet the 4 years of experience? Fode, do you want to take that one? They've worked part-time and full-time for 4 years.
Well, again, you have to certify 48 months of experience. So if within the 4 years, 2 of those years were part-time and 2 full-time, then, you can cover the 4 years. So the total of your time should be 48 months. If all of it was full-time, of course, that's good enough. But that's what you need, 48 months.
Is Type A license classification required for delegated design deferred submittals under a specialty scope? Is Type A license classification required for delegated design deferred submittals under specialty classification scope?
But there are 2 different classification. A is general engineering, and C has many different classifications. So I don't really understand the question.
Yeah, it's kind of a confusing question. Two different types of license. The A, like you mentioned, is general engineering, and the C's have different specialty classification.
Right.
Different scope of work. Does a DUI count as a felony? If so, can I be disqualified? Do you want to take that info? Does DUI count as a felony, and will they be disqualified if they have a DUI from obtaining a contractor license?
Well, we would look at those on case-by-case basis and how recent they were. So I can't give you one way or the other on the phone.
Okay. What is the current processing time for a C27 landscape license? Okay, so our processing times are the same for all of our licenses for all classifications. And you can go on our website now and look to see what our processing times are. You just go to our website, in the search engine, enter processing times, and then it will take you to a list so that you could see what date we go on receive date, and you'll see what date we're working on now. What do you need for a C61 license construction cleanup? How many years of experience? So we've talked about that one already. 4 years. Experience is the same. Can I take the general building contractor exam before submitting my work experience documentation? Again, we've answered that one as well. No. Am I able to get study guides for a C61 license? Yes. So the study guides that we have are available also on our website. You can go to our website, in the search engine, type study guides. The only study guide that you would need would be for the business and law examination. You will not have to take a trade exam. So there is no C61 trade exam study guide, but you do want to look at the business and law study guide, because that will be the only exam that you have to take. If I have a qualifier that is a licensed contractor and he forms a corporation or a partnership and adds me as personnel, and I will be working under the license, don't I need to also take the exam? So do you want to take that one? So it looks like they have a qualifier. Do they need to take the exam?
No, only the qualifier of the license is the person who take the exam. The personnel on the license, they do not take the exam.
Is a DBA the same as a FBN? So a DBA is a doing business as. So what that implies is that, let's say you have a name for your license, but you like to do work under a different license, a different name, you can create a doing business as. And just the important part of the DBA is you want to make sure that you use that name on all of your contracts and all of your advertising. The FBN is the fictional business name. We use DBAs. We don't use FBNs. We just use the DBA, and you can let us know what your DBA is. Does a master's degree in a non-construction related field provide any benefit for educational experience? So if it's not construction related, would it provide any benefit?
Yes, please submit. You will get something for it.
Just to clarify, for work experience, I would have my supervisor fill out the form. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your supervisor. If your supervisor is willing to fill out the form and you're okay with them filling out the form, absolutely. They can fill it out. Just be as detailed as possible and we will accept the form. If sometimes we have applicants who don't want their supervisors to know that they're going for an application, so for a license. So maybe perhaps they don't want their supervisor to fill out the form. That's okay too. That's why we showed you the different categories of the certifier. It can be, if you're part of a union, it can be somebody from the union, a union representative. If you have a foreperson that is willing to fill it out, they can fill it out. A co-worker can also fill it out. Anybody that has knowledge that you have 4 years of experience within the last 10 years can be your certifier, as long as they are able to certify that you have that experience. And they need to be very detailed in that section 6 of the certification, letting us know what exactly were the duties that you performed. My qualifier already has a C21 license. Does he still need to show proof of work experience and take an exam? If you have a qualifier who has a C21 license and they're going to be the qualifier on your license and you already, and you're going for a C21, they do need to show proof of work experience. They need to list the license number that he is on, but he will not need to take the exam, assuming that he took his C21 license is active, correct, Food? It says my qualifier already has a C21 license. Does he need to take the exam? He wouldn't have to re-exam as long as you're going for the C21 classification. Does it matter if a certifier is a family member? So does it matter if a certifier is a family member? Can a wife certify a husband's experience?
No, that's fine. That's fine. You can be a family member as long as they observe the work.
I am an active, okay, so we already answered that one as well. I work with an LLC company. Can I add the owner to the license when applying for the license? I work with an LLC company. Can I add the owner to the license when applying for the license? So if you already have an LLC, the way I understand this question, you already have an LLC, it's already registered, and now you're trying to apply for the license. Yes, you want to add whoever is registered with the Secretary of State. So first, when you have an LLC, you have to go to the Secretary of State and register your LLC. You have to tell us who is, what position each person is holding. And so we look at the state of the Secretary of State's records. We have access to the records. So you want to make sure that everybody you have listed there is also listed on your application. So make sure all the officers are there. Everybody's listed. Everybody has signed your application because we do compare. Thank you. I did send the email to classification this morning. Thank you for setting timeline expectations. Thank you. The application asks for a CSLB license number. The application asks for a CSLB license number for a new business. Where do I get this? So that is only in the case that you already have a license number. So if you've had a license in the past, that's what it's asking you there. Have you had a license in the past? If so, what was that number? If you have a new business, you do not have to list anything in that section. If you're brand new, first time you're applying for a license. I have a professional master's of architecture degree and a master's of landscape architecture degree. What amount of educational credit would I receive? I'm interested in the B and the C27. Again, we're not going to be able to tell you exactly. You're going to want to refer to the chart that we have up on our screen now. We can't tell you ahead of time how much experience credit you're going to be getting. If you're interested in the B and the C27, just remember you're going to have to select one to begin the process. So either the B or the C27 when you apply the first time, and then you can always add additional classifications to your license. As soon as you are issued a license number, you can submit what we call a supplemental classification application, and the fee for that is $150, and you can add the C. Let's say you start with the B, and you can add the C27, as long as you're able to provide experience, the same requirements, as, 4 years within the last 10 years, we would be able to add that classification to your license. And the good thing with that is there is $150 to add the classification to your license, but at the time of renewal, there's only one renewal fee, regardless of how many classifications you have. So it's not, it's not a separate fee for each. It's one renewal fee for all classifications. Does an RME need to own shares in the corporation? So does an RME need to own shares in the corporation?
No, RMEs, we consider their employees, responsible managing employees, and they have 0%.
Can a qualifier have two companies working with the same one license that he has? Can a qualifier have two companies working with the same one license that he has? So a qualifier can be on different number of licenses, right? You can't have two companies with one license, but you can be a qualifier on two different licenses, if that makes sense. Is that correct, folks?
No, you're absolutely correct. Each company would engage in the construction business has to have its own license. Now, you can qualify two licenses, but each company has to have its own license.
Will you contact my current employer at all if I'm applying for my own license? I wouldn't really want my company to know. They might fire me. Do we contact their current employer, Fode?
For that, what I would want you to do is submit a letter with your certification of work experience that you do not want us to contact your employer. And if we have to verify your experience, we will find other ways. You have to let us know.
Can I file my application online? If so, I cannot find the link. So right now we're currently not taking applications online. You can print it, you can fill it out online. So you fill it out, but then you have to print it, sign it, and mail it in. You can't submit it just yet online. I have worked as an environmental consultant for the past 18 years under a licensed landscape architect, which includes reviewing plans and specifications and writing construction specifications. Would that experience be considered as pertinent experience? 18 years under a licensed landscape architect as a consultant. Is that considered experience, Fode?
Well, again, we will actually have to look at the trades, but we are looking at the that you have performed or supervised employees perform. So if it was just a design, no, we do not give credits to that.
CSLB processing times on the website says 525 for San Diego. So given today is only 4/2, that's basically 8 weeks processing time. So I think what you're looking at for San Diego is the test date for 525. So yeah, that sounds about right. If they sent it in, if we received your application on 4/2, you're most likely to get a test date on 525 in San Diego. If B license is valid, would be able to use it for C36 plumbing or have to get the C36? Okay, so one caveat with the B license, what the law states is that when you have a B license, you want, if the job that you're doing does not include framing, then you want to have 2 unrelated trades on every single contract. Every single contract has to have 2 unrelated trades. So if somebody were to hire you just for plumbing, you're going to do nothing else but plumbing, you couldn't take that job on as a B licensee. You would have to you could take it but subcontract it to a C36 licensee, or you can do it as part of a project. Let's say you're going to be doing some painting and some plumbing. Then you're okay because those are 2 unrelated trades on one contract. But you couldn't just take the C36 and perform the work yourself. I've done several handyman jobs that have taken a handful of days over the last 4 years. Would that count as 4 years worth work of experience. So if you have consistently worked for the past 4 years, and somebody is willing to certify that, then we would look at that. You're saying you're doing several handyman jobs, so that depends what license you're going to be applying for, because we don't have a handyman license right now. So it depends. We'll have to look at it. You want to make sure that the person that you choose to certify your work experience is knowledgeable and knows exactly what type of jobs you've been doing, and they're going to want to be very detailed as to what jobs you have been performing. So be very specific, and you might want to go over the examples that we gave in this workshop here. The last question? That's the last question I see. Okay, so it looks like we entered all of the questions. So that's that is all the questions that we have for today. Thank you for all of your questions. Those were really good questions. If you have any other questions about your application, we encourage you to drop an email to our licensing division. Here is that email address: licensing@cslb.ca.gov. Again, licensing@cslb.ca.gov. If at some point you need to reschedule your exam, you can get that process started by dropping an email to exams@cslb.ca.gov. We've also put together a list of available resources for women considering a career in construction. If you haven't already, be sure to download this presentation to get them. You can download the presentation on the green banner at the top of our homepage, www.cslb.ca.gov. If you're watching the archived video of this workshop on our YouTube page, you'll find a link to the presentation down below.
We welcome your comments or topics for future webcasts. Just drop us an email to social@cslb.ca.gov. A special thanks to our licensing division and public affairs office for their help on this workshop. The Get Licensed to Bid workshop is a copyrighted production of the California State License Board. Thanks for watching.